Hello, America. I'm Brilyn Hollyhand, 16-year-old conservative commentator, editor-in-chief of the Truth Gazette. We're here today in Montgomery, Alabama with the man, the myth, the legend, former Georgia running back, Heisman Trophy winner, and a Republican nominee for the United States Senate from the great state of Georgia. Yes. Joining us now is the one, the only Mr. Herschel Walker. Herschel, thank you for doing this. Really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Welcome to the great state of Alabama.
Well, thank you, and you're doing an excellent job.
Thank you.
Incredible job, and we need people like you.
Thank you.
And continue to do what you do.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate you doing this. You're running a great campaign, and we're glad to sit and ask you some questions here.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Well, I remember the first time the idea of you running for office was ever pitched to me. It was back December 2020, a few weeks after the election, when some serious concerns were going on in your state. A mutual friend of ours, pitched me the idea of you originally running for governor. Yes. Now here we're, 2 years later, sitting together, you're running for the Senate, which arguably, in my opinion, is a more important office right now for what's going on in the country. You can not only, help the great state of Georgia, but the entire country. So we really appreciate you taking the time to do this. What made you want to leave the nice lifestyle you were living in the private sector to enter the, vicious world of politics?
Well, I'm not a politician.
Yes.
I'm not going to sound like one, look like one, act like one. But I am a big believer in God. So
yes,
I'm a warrior for God, and I saw there was some problems going on. And with Senator Warnock, things he was doing, I know I could beat him. And I can't just sit back, as I told my mom, I answer to someone far greater than a human being right now. And with the way crime is, the way this economy is, those things that I can get in and try to help. And if I didn't do it, I think I regret it the rest of my life.
We're glad you're in the campaign. You're doing a great job. In 88 days, Georgians will go to the polls and vote in the midterm election. What is your message to Georgia voters as they look at the difference between you and your opponents in your Warnock?
Well, one of my messages more than anything is we got to come together. Right now, the Republican Party got to come together, and the people on the left, they have nothing to run on. Right now, they can't stand behind the policies that they voted for. And my message is I want to bring the economy down. I want to bring the gas prices down, bring the grocery prices down, try to solve some of the crime out on the street, and vote for things that Georgia people like. I've been getting around the state talking to the people, and what they're saying is different than what the people in Washington is talking about. And that's what I want to do. I want to represent the people of Georgia, not represent a particular party. I think that's what my opponent is doing. He represents Joe Biden, and I represent Georgia.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Speaking of your opponent, Raphael Warnock, he has one of the most radical liberal voting records in the entire Senate. And he's also refused numerous times to publicly debate you and answer those questions from Georgia voters about his radical voting record. Why do you think Senator Warnock is so scared of defending his radical views to Georgia voters?
Well, it's hard to stand in front of someone and tell them what you vote for. It's easy to do it off in a camera or talking to an empty podium. And that's what he want to do, is stand into a studio with two podiums and with a guy that's sort of paid from his campaign to ask me questions rather than getting in front of the voters, people that he's voted against. And what I mean by that is people that he brought on this tough inflation, he brought on this high gas prices, high grocery prices, he brought, men and women's sports, he voted for something like that. And he don't want to stand in front of someone because he has nothing to run on. And I want to hold him accountable to it. And I think that's what people forget about. They always talk about how he's such a smooth talker, and he is. He's an incredible talker. He's a minister. They talk about how well he dressed. I'm a country boy. I'm not going to dress as cool as he dressed. But one of the things I do know is I love this country. I love Georgia. I love the Georgia people, and I'm going to tell them the truth. That's one thing that he's not doing. He pretend that he's with Georgia, but he's with Joe Biden. And now since Biden his polling number is so far down, now he's trying to distance himself from it. But you can't distance yourself when you voted 96% of the time with him.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Monday night, President Trump's home, Mar-a-Lago, was raided by the FBI. Merrick Garland, Biden's AG, says that he personally authorized that search warrant. What are your thoughts on the political weaponization of Biden's Justice Department? And if elected, will you commit to investigate, with your fellow Republicans in the Senate? And do you think that Merrick Garland and Christopher Wray should be forced to resign for this?
Well, I wrote a little tweet that I thought they should have resigned because that was a disgrace. Right now, to have the FBI to do something like that. And I think right now the citizens must realize that if they can do a former president like that, do you not think that they're going to do us? Less than 24 hours before they voted to have 80-something thousand IRS agents, they're sending the FBI to invade the Mar-a-Lago for President Trump. And I think that's a shame. I think it's a disgrace, and it put a stain on America. And I think we have to stand up as citizens and get this right come November. And And the way we can do it is get out and vote for the people that's going to do the right thing for this country and for their state.
You're absolutely correct. And just still on the topic of President Trump, he's endorsed your campaign. He's also been vocal about his thoughts on Senator McConnell. If elected to the Senate when Republicans take the majority in November, would you vote for Mitch McConnell to be the Senate Majority Leader?
Well, see, that's one thing that's so unique. Senator McConnell, he endorsed me as well.
Well, good.
And President Trump endorsed me. And I've told people, right now, we got to bring this Republican Party together. We can't continue to fight among each other. That's one thing the people on the left are so good at. They're good at being voted for the same thing, even though I know some of them cannot believe that. Because within that state is telling them, please don't vote for that, please don't vote for that, and they go right ahead. But that's one of the things I said I want to do is bring people together. And I need the McConnell votes, I need the Trump votes, because this is going to be a tough race for myself. Senator Warnock, he's got a good base, and he's going to be running along with Stacey Abrams. So those are people that I'm going to have to fight as well. And I think that's one of the things that I said I'm going to do is I'm ready to fight. I think when I decided to run, I think Senator Warnock realized that he got the guy that can beat him. And he's nervous, he's scared, and that's the reason they've spent so much money trying to make me look bad. But right now, the race is still almost dead even. That means that the people of Georgia is telling him that the guy for that seat is Herschel Walker.
Absolutely, you're spot on there. A great fighter too for the state of Georgia. In the first year of the Biden administration, we've seen record high inflation, high prices at the pump, a crashing stock market, failure in Afghanistan, and much, much more, unfortunately. If elected, what will you do to combat these issues and push back against the Biden administration?
Well, it's almost easy. The first thing I do is I want to get our energy back.
Yes.
We got to get out. We got to be energy independent. I think that is a national security problem right there as well. That's how things first started. That's what's so sad. They hated President Trump so much that the first thing that Biden did when he got in office is to get rid of our energy. But the worst thing that he did is he goes to our enemies to give us energy. And I think that is a problem. You're going to go to your enemies to help you out, when yet we are so fertile underneath our feet that we can drill and domesticate ourselves. And I think that's one of our biggest problems right there. So I think that'll be a major problem right there. And then a lot of people don't know Georgia is not a border state, but 70% of the drugs coming from the border go through Atlanta, Georgia. So we got to get this border under control. This border is another big factor. So there's a lot of things that we got to get corrected, and that's what the left is not doing. They seem to be breaking everything, but never fixing anything. They're moving to the next thing, and that's what's so sad.
Absolutely. Two questions here before we close. Taking a step back from politics, I want to get your take on something here in college football. When I was preparing for this interview, what do you ask Herschel Walker, such a giant in politics, and also here in the football world, NIL deals have been a recent controversy here in college football. You're a Georgia fan, I'm a big Bama fan. For people that at home that aren't aware of what NIL is, name, image, likeness, what are your thoughts on those deals and the impact they have on college football?
Well, I think there's going to be a terrible impact on college football. I totally disagree with it. I think that there's another chance you're going to separate players, and also you're going to hurt some of the smaller schools. One of the things I suggested that they do is, why don't they take the money and put it in an endowment account, take the interest from that endowment account and help underprivileged people to go to college. And when that kid shows back up at that university with a degree, doesn't matter where the degree is from, they can receive every cent that he got, because college should be about education. Right now, you're taking professionals and giving them a lot of money. They're not doing well with it. But now you're going to give it to 17, 16, 18-year-olds and expecting them to do well. No one had ever talked to them about having an accountant. With the amount of money they're making, they better have an accountant, they better have lawyers. So those are things you have to consider.
Great idea. I hadn't heard that idea before. That's really, really good. Wrapping up here, big Bama fan, obviously a great Georgia Bulldog here. In 15 days, college football will be back. Congrats on y'all's winning season last year. But what is your expectation for the upcoming season to come, and what's going to be y'all's excuse when we beat you on the championship?
Well, you guys are going to try to beat us, but I think we're going to have to win it again. I think the best thing to happen to Georgia is to finally get that weight off their back. And beating Alabama, I think, helped them out a great deal for the winning national championship. But Alabama, we got a good team this year.
Yes, sir.
They got a very, very good team. They didn't lose that many players, and I can tell you the coach is going to have them ready. But I tell you, Georgia going to be ready as well. So I think it'll be Georgia and Alabama in the SEC championship game again, and we're going to see where it goes. I'm going to take Georgia, but you can't take Nick Saban. You can't take him short. He's an incredible coach. Have some incredible players. So it's going to be a good game.
Absolutely. Well, Herschel Walker, thank you so much for doing this. It's 88 days. Georgians will go to the polls and vote for you, elect you to the Senate. We really appreciate you.
Thank you
so much.
God bless.